to share with everybody my latest tool acquisition here. I want to start off by thanking a fellow member of the Hobby Machinist Forum. He goes by the username of Guns of Navarone, and he was very generous to pass along a discount code to me that he wasn't going to use. And so I had my eye on this Rotary table for a while, well, with the discount I figured now was the time to jump on it. I got a couple of projects that I have in mind I'd like to do that this would come in handy with. So alright, so it's I'm going to start with kind of an unboxing, which, you know, I'm not really too crazy about, but all of the reviews about this, this is the model T25937. It's the 5-inch, comes with a 4-jaw chuck, indexing plates, all of that. All the reviews are basically good for the Rotary table itself. All of the negative aspects of it pertain with the 4-jaw chuck, being the jaws are too tight. It doesn't move very freely. So I'm going to start. I'm just going to take everything out of the box and show you everybody how this would come packed. As you can see. So move this out of the way a little bit. Hope the stuff is still in the frame. Alright, so got the indexing plates here, and looks like the sector and the and then the handle. It's in a separate box. Okay. And the chuck key for the 4-jaw chuck. I would imagine that's the tail stock in there. Instruction manual. Okay, some hold down clamps. And the Rotary table itself with the chuck already mounted on there. So let me cut this plastic off, and I'll bring you back. We'll get a better look at everything. Alright, so spent probably close to an hour and a half taking everything apart, wiping everything down, and with some mineral spirits, cleaning everything up. So alright, the tail stock, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's get something, a little contrast in here. Look at the other side. You can see that there's like some slag or some flash from the casting there, so that annoys me when I see a machine slot, or a slot that should be machined nice and clean, and there's a little like nurdle there. So that's just no big deal. I'll just hit that with a file and just clean that up. So tailstock slots, so that's, you know, that's something. That's not a big deal, but a little pet peeve. Clean that up. I put this on the surface plate, and this sits very flat. I did the same for the I did the same for the Rotary table as well. Both the horizontal and the vertical surfaces sits very flat. It's pretty smooth, pretty nice. One thing I noticed is probably in shipping. I don't know if this will come out, but you see how this knob has got a bit of a whip to it. So I could probably straighten that out. So that's a little something. That was probably, I would attribute that to shipping. So, you know, once again, really not a big deal. I could fix that relatively easily. Other thing too is if this comes with no tools, so there's no wrenches, none of those cheap Allen keys that you'll round off in no time at all and wind up cursing. So you'll have to supply your own Allen keys and your own wrenches. You're going to need a 17 millimeter to adjust the tailstock height. These are the bolts that go through here. 17 millimeter. So that'll be going through here. A couple of washers in there, and that adjusts your tailstock height. So they don't give you that. They do not give you the 8 millimeter Allen key to lock the center. Okay, so you need an 8 millimeter Allen key for that. You need a 4 millimeter Allen key or hex key and a 13 millimeter wrench. And what that is your, that's to keep your tail stock to keep it from rotating. So I guess you want to call it a key or something like that. So okay, and then you will tighten this down. So that's okay. So once again, that's what you need for that. Oh, another thing here is this tailstock block. Let's see if I can bring this in here a bit. Once again, it's more cosmetic. It's not very, yeah, it's a little cheesy looking there, but you know, once again, cosmetic. I don't see it interfering with anything. Comes with outside jaws, 2 sets of jaws, and they're each numbered. And so while we're talking about the jaws for the chuck is a little tight. It is functional. It does, you know, turn. It's I'll probably wind up taking it apart and just cleaning it up. I do see some like that gunky oil that's in there, so I'll probably clean that up with some mineral spirits and maybe hit it with a stone or something. So that's that. What else is on it? The sector for the indexing plates. If you guys can see, there's like a little divot in here. Really, there's like a little divot in the casting. Or, yeah, it kind of looks like a casting error, you know, void there. But it is a machine, so. Okay. Once again, I don't see it interfering with the performance of it. 12 millimeter to hold the chuck to the table. The indexing plates, they're all in pretty good shape here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Lots of oil. This pin, it fits pretty well in there. Really no slop in there at all. And spring loaded. Okay. The screws do fit nice and flush. Okay. What else is there? Okay, all the hardware is metric, of course. You will need a 5mm Allen key. Let me spin this around again. You will need a 5mm Allen key or hex key to take the handle off in order to put the indexing plates on. So that's something you might want to have handy. I did some dimensions. Oh, one other thing, which I find kind of annoying, and to reset the dial, you have to loosen up this Allen, this little set screw here, and that's a 2.5mm hex key. I would like to change it and put a little knurled thumb screw there. Don't know if I could find one in a 5mm by 0.8 pitch thread, so might have to maybe drill that out, retap it to something that I have laying around, possibly like a 1032 or something like that. And but that looks like that would be real annoying. Every time you want to zero this dial, you got to get an Allen key out and adjust that. I got some dimensions for you. Let me get this standing up here somehow. Okay, so we'll start with, okay, the trying to do that without getting everybody dizzy. The spacing for these two mounting holes for when you want to use the rotary table in the vertical position, those are on about 3 9/16 on center. So okay, the distance between the front and the rear, or whatever you want to call it, if you're mounting it in the horizontal position, it's about 6.5 inches, but this doesn't give a whole lot of room here. I mean, it's I don't know how useful of a slot that really is. I don't even know if I can measure this very easily. It's not even 3/8 of an inch deep, and it's got a little bit of a angle, like a little bit of a pattern draft to that. So I don't think you're going to get a very secure bite on that the way that is. But there are other options to hold this down to the table, so I wouldn't get too upset over that. Spacing on the tailstock slots. Let's lay him back down. And okay, spacing here and here. Tailstock, it's about 4 3/8. So kind of. I just used a ruler to measure that. These slots are pretty wide. 673, so probably a 5/8 slot for that, which I think is kind of overkill, considering just for a tailstock, and the slot on the rotary table is barely over 1/2 inch. So I don't know if I left anything out. I tried to give this a pretty thorough look over. One other thing, I put this on the scale. The way this sits now, the rotary table with the chuck without any of the indexing plates, just the way this is just over 22 pounds. So it's got a little bit of weight to it. And it's got a couple of these little ball oilers. There's, I think, one for the worm, and you got one on the table here. You guys can see they got one over here, over there, and another one behind. Oh, and let me show you this. You could disengage the worm with this lever here, this lock nut, and you could disengage the worm and spin the table. There's the other oiler there, and then back. So I think I covered everything I set out to cover. Alright, so it's I'm not going to actually do any indexing. I'm just going to show you how you take this off and put the indexing plates on. So okay, this is a 5mm Allen key, hex key, whatever you prefer to call it. Now, like I said before, they don't supply any of the tools. Okay, this slides off. There's a little key, don't lose that. Okay, now I just picked any plate here. And these 3 screws. Okay. I'm not sure if this is really Phillips or thought it might have been Posi drive, but not really. Maybe it's Reed and Prince. Or is it Prince and Reed? I don't know. How about good old flat? There you go. Yeah, that one's a little, I don't know if it's the screw or the hole, but it's a little quirky. That don't have to get very tight, that's for sure. Okay, so after you put your index plate on, whatever division you're going to need, like I said, I'm just going through the motions here. I believe the sector goes on next now. That just presses on, and this is adjustable, and then you would tighten it down to whatever number of divisions. Then this little spring clamp goes in there. And then, depending on the number of holes, this would get spaced in and out. So let's just put that there, just for demonstration purposes, and put that cap back on. Oh, okay. So that's a little weird. As you're tightening down, it's kind of going against this here. So, all right. Let's get that back out. And all right, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess you could just put it in the hole and tighten that bad boy down. Okay. So just say for argument's sake, you had to go 4 holes spacing. So let's see. And this is on the 4th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would space that like that. Slide your sector. Bring it down. Before you move it again, you'd slide your sector so that hits that. And each time you do, it's moving at the same distance. Alright, the hold down bolts they give you here. Let me see if I can get this in frame. Alright, I think they give you 4 of these. They're actually made out of stainless, and got to use a 12mm wrench, and they give you those little serrated flange nuts like that. The only thing that I don't like about this is that these T-nuts that go into the slots, there's no stop on those threads, so you're tightening it down. This can very easily drive into the bottom of the slot of your table, and you really don't want to do that. So it's the only downfall with that. I guess I could Loctite this and keep that from going, or maybe just peen the threads over a bit down at the back here, so when it hits the bottom it stops. So, but other than that, I look forward to doing a couple of projects with this, and overall I think it's you really can't beat it, you know, for the price. It's in the 2018 catalog for $315, so it's perfect for my size mill. Alright, this video ran longer than anticipated, and I think I'm going to wrap this up. Couple of points I'd like to just make is that I'm planning on doing a separate video taking the 4-jaw chuck apart, seeing if I could get these jaws to move a little bit more freely. I have another project. I'd like to make a 0 indicator holder to help center the rotary table on the milling machine, and that'll also help center the chuck on the rotary table. And I have another project that I would like to start, and that's gonna be utilizing the rotary table in both the horizontal position and in the vertical position. So I'm looking forward to getting back in the workshop, doing some more things with that, and hope you guys join me for that stuff. So if you have any questions or comments about the Grizzly T25937, leave them in the comments for me. And thanks for everyone who is subscribing and enjoying my videos. I really appreciate it. Alright guys, I'll see you back soon.